Let's talk about actual baseball stuff now. Ty has a bunch for you.
Yeah, Jet, I want to go back to the AL MVP because I think I saw a clip that maybe you said, like, you would give your vote to Judge, but, it'd be tough. And I don't like doing this because we've been doing this in the office where basically because of my bias being a Yankees fan, I don't want to say I've had to on Cal Raleigh, but Pat's really getting me going. Basically trying to say that Cal Raleigh is 100 times better than Judge, and I have to kind of just tell him like, "Hey, listen, pal, you are very misguided in this." But also with this, like, is there just a level of Judge fatigue, and we've gotten to the point where like people just don't admire how great he is or don't realize how great he is because we see it year over year? Like, is Cal Raleigh going to win the MVP, or what? How should we look at this situation?
I think it's going to be really close. And here's the reality, Ty. There's not a bad vote. Like, you can make a very compelling case for Aaron Judge, and you can make a very compelling case for Cal Raleigh. And both of those are being made right now. I think a lot of it just comes down to how do you view the baseball world? Like, if your baseball perspective is through the lens of what is the best story, then Cal Raleigh's the MVP. He has the round number home run that everyone's looking for, like 60 home runs, and doing that from the position of catcher.
Is that more? 60 more?
Yeah, just let him keep going, though. We'll get to the stats that matter, too.
Okay. See, this is what happens. He gets all fired up.
No, because
I didn't realize Todd likes singles so much.
I didn't know batting for average around here. I didn't know that's what we're doing.
You can't say that because Judge has hit over 50 home runs, but it's basically.
Excuse me. I've never seen. This is Cal Raleigh's setup right here. 2 bats, brother. Okay, we're on one side, we're on the other side.
Sure.
He's doing 100 squats a game, this guy. His mitt.
Well, that's his fault. Go play outfield. I don't want to hear that. He decided to play catcher, so don't give me the squats. Go play first base. Go DH. But Judge, Jet, is this just turning into like, hey, whoever hits the most homers is going to be MVP?
Oh, he's mad. He's not happy, Jet. I love Aaron Judge. No, Aaron Judge was great for our show. We love Aaron. I'm just saying, Ty started getting a little bit of, what are we even doing here whenever the national narrative started becoming Cal versus Aaron? And I think that's because Ty thinks Mr. Judge is like best player on planet.
Might go down as the best right-handed hitter of all time.
So that's Ty's argument. What I'm saying is 2 bats.
Touching the ball every play.
I'm saying
I get it.
He's in there doing
But this is what I mean, too. I didn't want to get in this because I love Cal Raleigh. He's awesome. But
you've been fighting against Cal pretty heavily.
I have to. I have to go to bat for my captain.
He does. Because he's Pat, he is threatened right now because he knows how good Cal Raleigh's case is. That's the problem. Like, playing catcher, Ty,
go on.
You cannot deny that playing catcher every day is an incredibly difficult thing to do. A whole lot more difficult than keep doing your squats, Pat, because that's what the big dumbbers do.
2 massive stories happening, and they're both on a roller coaster going, this one.
Yeah.
Who is it, Ty?
Yeah, Jet. I mean, I know we're talking about the Tigers as being like maybe one of the biggest collapses in like sports history, but do you think the Mets are kind of getting off the hook as well? I mean, I know both those teams are still holding on to a playoff spot right now, but for people who don't know, can you kind of contextualize how bad both of these collapses have been?
Ty, the Mets were 45-24. They own the best record in Major League Baseball through 69 games. Everything was going nice for them. It has not been nice since. And it has been the slowest, most painful 3 months for Mets fans. Just watching this team, I use the word disintegrate. That's kind of what's happened. Like, they looked like they were going to be a World Series contender, and now they're flirting with 500. And the only reason that they still have a playoff spot is because the teams that are surrounding them, frankly, are not all that good either. And at the same time, the Tigers had a 15.5 game advantage in July over the Cleveland Guardians, a 12.5 game advantage a month ago.
Jeez.
A double-digit advantage in September. And to watch the Tigers lose not just the 8 games in a row that they have right now, including the ones to the Guardians that you're seeing right there with George Valera's home run, with Jose Ramirez coming up with yet another clutch hit. But for them to be in the position that they are right now, it would be the biggest division collapse in Major League Baseball history, and Major League Baseball is in its 150th season, gentlemen. So just to give you the context of that, we have this is like the dueling pianos of substitute right now. They are both terrible at this point. And I think at least one of them is going to make the playoffs, honestly, because the Astros, who should be taking advantage of what's going on with Detroit, have lost 5 in a row as well. It's not just that they've blown their lead that they've had over the Mariners all season, but the Astros are now behind the Tigers in the wild card standings. It's going to make for an awesome last 4 days of the season. I'm just really excited to see how it shakes out and to know that on the 162nd game of the season, it could be one that determines the fate of multiple teams in the postseason. And beyond that, guys, we've got the Yankees and the Blue Jays tied atop the American League East. They're going to be fighting for position. We don't know who's going to be hosting games in the AL. Is it going to be the Yankees? Is it going to be the Jays? Looks like it's going to be the Mariners at this point. But there's just a lot going on right now.
But Carson Wentz plays good, continues to play good. What are they going to do with J.J. McCarthy? Obviously, J.J. McCarthy came into this year as the starter. Aaron Rodgers, you guys want him in Minnesota? Nope, we feel good with J.J. McCarthy. They did offer Danny Dimes more money than the Indianapolis Colts did for him to be a backup for J.J. McCarthy, but this was supposed to be his year. He gets hurt, has one good quarter, really good quarter.
Yeah.
One really good fourth quarter, gets hurt. Carson Wentz comes in and balls. Their team's built to win right now. The decision for KOC will be, do we ride the hot hand with Carson if this continues and let JJ kind of watch and experience this even more? And is Carson going to get hurt inevitably? Not guaranteed, but chance. And then you slide JJ in. I don't think Kevin O'Connell should be in any rush if this Carson Wentz experience goes very, very well. And I assume that's how he feels as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think as of right now, the thought is, hey, they'll let Carson Wentz have the European trip. And you know, when he gets back, maybe JJ will take over from there. But I think if Carson Wentz, I mean, it all comes down to how he plays on Sunday and the following Sunday, I guess. But if he goes 2-0 in Europe, coming back, I really don't think they'd be in any rush to say, okay, let's move JJ back in here. So, I mean, we'll see.
This is what O'Connell said. First and foremost, he's got to get healthy. Okay, so he's not healthy right now, so this is not a conversation that is actively taking place. And then I don't think it's one of those things where it's, hey, he's healthy the night before a game, we're going to throw him out there and say, hey, go figure it out type of thing. So Kevin O'Connell doesn't have to answer the question right now. That's what that was, right? The situation he put up, well, if he was healthy the night before a game, we're not going to throw him in there. We don't know what the situation is because he's got to get healthy first, is how Kevin O'Connell is viewing this entire thing. But with that being said, if Carson goes out and crushes it again, I don't know why you would feel an urgency to get JJ back out there other than the fact that you need JJ to develop, right? Which is kind of the conversation with JJ, which goes back to the entire NFL conversation.
Yeah, and it's that, and it's a confidence thing. And if you look at their schedule, obviously they have the Steelers this weekend, but then you follow up with the Browns, with the Eagles, with the Chargers, with the Lions, and the Ravens. Those are all really good football teams with some pretty good defenses. So it's like, do you want to put JJ back in there and take his lumps, or how do you want to deal with that? It's a real thing.
Pittsburgh's defense. Okay, normally really good.
Right.
5 turnovers
last week.
5 turnovers last week.
Makers.
Pittsburgh, Cleveland's defense, historic rate.
Yeah, maybe best ever.
Maybe greatest defense of all time. Maybe greatest defense of all time.
Yeah.
Philadelphia's defense, literally just won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, defense, unbelievable. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. Okay, they're in there. Right there. You could see, you could smell them.
Yep.
You could definitely hear them, because they're going to be doing that. Then the Los Angeles Chargers.
They've been pretty good this year.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All on a string. And then the Detroit Football Lions, and then the Baltimore Ravens, if they have it figured out by then. Okay?
Yeah.
Now that's week 10. There was a stat that was floating around the internet for the Baltimore Ravens defense about how last year until like week 10, they were considered a bad defense. And then they turned it on towards the end of the year. Right now, they are the worst defense in the NFL, which is what we don't expect at all from this Baltimore Ravens team. But you look at that stretch right there, it's like, all right, JJ, you're healthy.
Go get him.
Yeah.
And if Carson, who's been there, done that, is one tough. You know that about Carson Wentz.
Yep.
He will go out there with an entire broken body, the entire skeleton broken. He will go out there and play football, which we appreciate and we love. But he's also seen it before. And this is the resurgence of these quarterbacks. Seeing the defense before, understanding what's possible. Where am I going to die? What is the opt-out here? Like, if Carson Wentz is making all the mature decisions that Danny Dimes is making here, that maybe Baker's making down, what Sam Darnold's making now, it's like that that era of quarterback getting their second shot right now, really striving. It looks like Carson may be the next guy to do that.
Yeah, Carson playing overseas makes a ton of sense. The only thing is, like, when you look at the JJ stuff, their whole team, their whole offense looked back as Christian Darrisaw wasn't out there.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have
Agreed.
his starting left tackle. Like, as someone who watched Drake May, for his rookie year without a left tackle, it looked terrible. Now that he has a left tackle with Will Campbell, it looks completely different. So, like,
Good point.
as bad as it was for JJ, they lost to the Falcons, and the Falcons defense looked great, and then the Falcons lost 30-0 to the Panthers. And it's like, is the Falcons defense good, or did the Vikings' second best player is Christian Darrisaw playing left tackle, and they didn't have him? Like, Carson playing overseas makes sense. So, like, there's no reason to put him out there against Pittsburgh, which is going to be a Pittsburgh home game. That's going to be a Pittsburgh crowd. The Steelers own Ireland. That is a fact. And then Cleveland, Cleveland's defense on the road, we'll see. They've already given up 40 once, but it still is one of those things where the Cleveland defense might come out hot. So I'm not I feel like Penix is more of a worry than like JJ McCarthy, just because like without that guy, you just said it, like they're worried about where they're coming from. Without Darrisaw, it was coming from the left side of the line every single snap.
I get what you're saying there. Making a decision if Carson continues the ball to go back to JJ with Christian Darrisaw or not is going to be a tough one for KOC.
Yeah.
I mean, that is going to be a tough decision for KOC. It's going to be, especially if they go on the run that they're about, if they beat all these teams.
Oh.
Well,
Could you imagine they get wins over Pittsburgh and Cleveland, or they get a win over LA right there? Like, that would be.
They'll be favored in both.
That'd be gigantic.
They've
win.
done that, though.
well, but to your point, too, about like, hey, if we want to develop JJ, like those games that you said in that stretch after they get back, like that's not a, hey, we just can't have you lose the game for us. Like that's a, hey, we're going to need the quarterback to make plays in these games. I don't think you can rely on their defense to score 2 touchdowns a week. And Carson, like we've said, when he's playing his best, like he can be a guy who can go out and win you a game.
Chargers are 3-0, and then you have the Bills, Niners, and Bucks, who are all 2-0 in their divisions. When you have a great start to the season, it's one thing, but talk about when you have a great start in the division as well, being undefeated in the division to start the year.
Well, I think it's huge because I think, like anything, just got done saying there's a lot of football left to be played, and your season's not determined in September. But boy, when you can get those division victories in the bag, especially on the road, those are huge. And I've always felt that because victories bring confidence. Road victories bring a little more confidence, and road victories and division victories bring even more confidence. And that's just something I've always believed in. I think as your team grows each and every year, you got to stack success, and that's all part of the momentum that you're building. And it's a long year, so getting that momentum rolling and keep building off it week by week it's awesome. So to have that in September, it definitely gives them a nice springboard going into October football.
The starting 3-0 in the division, though, that is such a great head start just to start your season. Legitimately, what a relief I would assume that is as you get those out of the way. But whenever you see the schedule have that many division games that early, coming out of the blocks, we have to play our best football. Feels like the Chargers are doing that for all these teams. How hard, like the Colts, for instance, and the Chargers, all these teams that are playing great. How easy is that to sustain? How hard is that to sustain? Like, what are your thoughts on dealing with a team being great early? Like the Indianapolis Colts right now are playing the best football that they've maybe ever played, okay? The Colts as a whole. How do they sustain that for how long the season is? Obviously, we're crossing our fingers about injuries. That's going to happen in the NFL. But other than that, do they continue to get better in little things? Like, what is your thoughts on sustaining success, especially a hot start like this?
Yeah, that's where I go back to the evaluation process we spoke on earlier. You cannot change your Monday process, regardless of the outcome of the game. So long as you keep, evaluating the same, win or lose, keeping things realistic, because we've all been there. We've all been part of games where you play very well and you haven't won, and there's games where you didn't play very well and have won. So I just think staying in tune with the reality of where you are each and every week and continue to build off of that and grow, because there are more little things in September. I think it's only natural because you only have so many padded practice. The double team blocks aren't as tight. The pad level's a little high. The spacing. We'll go into special teams. I don't know if we're going to talk about that today.
Absolutely. Next.
Yeah, you got to look at the big plays on special teams. So, are the alignments right? It's the time clock of the snap and the hold intact, or the pads too high on field goal protection? Because those are the things that how much time are you putting to that? And I know as a head coach, I always looked at it as the challenge of scheduling and training your football team versus the other 31 coaches is so important, and always put a lot of time into that. How much time we're going to spend on each situation. If red zone offense and defense wasn't very good in 22, then I'll tell you 23 we were going to work on it more. But you only have so much time in this CBA era. So all those little things add up, because the little things always add up, and that's why I just think it's so important on how you got to find ways to win in September. It's critical. That's why I just have so much respect. And I think I don't know, the Chargers 3-0 in the division after 3 weeks. Has that been done before? That seems very unique to come out and play 3 division games and now to be sitting there at 3-0. So, that's definitely, there's a lot of positive juice in the building right now for sure.
I appreciate that Roger Goodell went down a schedule maker or somebody and said, last couple of years, beginning of the season, so.
Division games.
Make it better.
We need the best games early, actually. The teams have all told us they don't want that, though. That's good. We don't. You know how much Jeff Bezos, how much money he has?
Yeah.
We would like to understand. That is clearly a mission this year, it felt like. With the amount of division games early, and especially the primetime games, it's like they want their best games leading off the season, because there has been a lull at the beginning of these seasons, and I think that's potentially because of the CBA era that you are referring to, where there isn't much training, isn't much working, and then preseason, what does that become? But if they start putting these very important games at the beginning of the season, all of a sudden preseason becomes very important for these teams. So it might have been a good answer, even though coaches are going to have to dodge and kind of duck, dive, and dodge through this entire thing. Yeah, through the early rigors of a schedule. Now, on that note, you mentioned something that people have been taking advantage of this year more so than last year. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, Coach, a lot of game-winning kicks so far this year. I think we had 4 this past weekend. We also had a potential 2-score kick for the Bucs to go up. Instead, the Jets take it back for a touchdown. Rams, Josh Carty's got a chance at a game-winning kick. That gets blocked for a touchdown. Special teams seems to be a massive deal so far early on in the season. What do you think so far about field goal operations, things of that nature? And then how do you feel about some of these kickoffs? The Rams, Josh Carty, and the Panthers, Ryan Fitzgerald. I believe both those teams lead the league in opponents' starting field position. I think the Panthers right here, this is Ryan Fitzgerald, they lead the league. Their opponents
start.
In the drive start, their opponents start their drives on the 21. Vrabel said he watched 2 hours of this special team stuff this week to prepare for the Panthers. What do you think of all this, Big Mike, and how do you think it's going to affect the game?
Well, going back to the first part, I know historically, for me personally, the teams that I've coached, being in charge of a draft and develop program, always had a little more anxiety towards special teams, particularly early in the year, because being a young team, obviously your special teams are even younger. So that was always a bit of a challenge, and something that was a really focal point for me and a special teams coach, as far as how we were trying to play coming out of training camp going into the season. So I do think you see some of that that can affect the opportunity for potentially more big plays. And I think clearly on the kickoff, I think the league's getting exactly what they want. I don't recall specifically what the numbers, but I think they were down to 20% returns and 80% kickoffs. And I know the goal was to get it up to, I think it was between 70 and 80% returns and, 20 to 30%, touchbacks. And I'm not sure where those numbers are now.
Way up.
I think
way up.
Well, I know they're way up. But
but they are. They're celebrating that, though. The NFL's celebrating that, because that's a big change. The whole kickoff thing was a huge change, and they're saving it. They said, Coach, everyone to save the kickoff is what they were saying.
Definitely, and I love the play also, because I think it gives you a chance also when you get into roster development to make sure you're giving the Turpins of the world opportunities to affect the game and things like that, because there's definitely a place for those type of players. So I think it's great that the kickoff is back in the game.